The other day, one of the Riot devs came out with an in-depth analysis of the age-old question, which gun is better, Vandal or Phantom? Riot has supplied statistic over statistic over statistic, which I was very happy to see, but what do they all mean exactly? Today, we are going to go through it and we are going to see once and for all which gun comes out on top. Before we get into it though, go ahead and like the video and comment what your favorite gun is. I'd love to see what you guys think. So to start things off, this graph here shows the percentage of kills each gun gets at different distances. And you can clearly see that at a close range, just how much more effective the Phantom is than the Vandal. With the sweet spot being less than 20 meters, this is the range you are most likely to get kills in. Using the Phantom might be best on small, cramped maps like Lotus and Split, as you are less likely to get into long-range fights that would lower the chance of getting kills. Although the kill distribution at longer ranges is lower than the Vandal, which is as expected, it doesn't have as big of a drop-off as I was expecting, meaning I think that in terms of overall distance, I think Phantom takes the win on this one. This one is the same kind of statistics just from another angle and shows the same kind of thing. I will point out though that they got this wrong and the red is actually the Phantom and the blue is the Vandal, which is a little confusing, but hey, it's fine. You can see that the Phantom performs really well at closer ranges and then drops off relatively quickly, with the Vandal having a bit more of an even spread at all distances. Both 15 to 20 meter distances are more or less the same in both guns, but where the Vandal performs better at longer ranges, the Phantom just performs better at shorter ranges. I will say that with this even spread though, I might give this W to the Vandal. These two graphs show the spray control of both guns depending on both the rank of the player and the range of the shots. As you can see, all elos actually have a better time controlling the spray of the Phantom more than the Vandal, especially when it comes to a double kill. I'm going to ignore the rest of this graph because it's more or less the same anyways, and I don't think you are that likely to get a 4K within 5 seconds unless you are really lucky. In terms of range, it shows a very similar story, with Phantom taking out the majority of the spray control stats, especially at smaller to medium distances. Vandal still takes the prize in terms of long range, but I think overall these stats are very close together. With the first graph in mind though, I'm going to give the spray and pray category to the Phantom. These statistics show how each gun performs against each other. Much like we have seen with the other statistics, Phantom just takes the cake in all elos at the 0 to 15 meter range, but falls off quite considerably after that. Although Riot listed this as a Phantom W since they are just much more powerful at short range, you just cannot deny the rest of these stats, so I think Vandal gets the W here. And I think this graph here makes sense to me because although we are tied on points right now, I think the Vandal is just much stronger at longer range, that in both comp queue and in pro play, Vandal is picked almost 3 times more than the Phantom. This means for every pro team that plays, there is likely to be 3 to 4 Vandals picked and only 1 to 2 Phantoms selected, which is quite substantial. Now I know there are many factors for these picks such as the map, the team comp, etc, but I think it's still a very big difference nonetheless. So I think Vandal takes the W here. Now, this one is funny. You know how annoyed you get when you land a headshot on the Phantom and it's a hit marker and it doesn't kill them straight away? Well yeah, you don't get that on the Vandal. If you click their head once, they are dead. Simple as that. And I think this is a very large downfall of the Phantom, which is why the Vandal takes yet another W. Now, this stat is very interesting. As you saw in the last graph, after a 15 meter range, headshots from the Phantom only do 140 damage and doesn't kill the enemy. But what's interesting is that of that 56.5% of the time that this happens, 78% of that, which means 44% of the overall time you hit a headshot on someone at long range, you still end up killing them, with the rest of that time resulting in you dying or someone else comes in to get the kill. I know that on the surface, this looks like a Phantom W, but this simply isn't a statistic for the Vandal because they directly kill on headshot damage. So since this is still a similar statistic to the last graph, I won't be giving the Vandal another W, but the Phantom certainly isn't getting one either. So since the Vandal gets more headshots, is it more accurate? The answer, I guess overall in terms of headshots, yes. I think as the Phantom is more of a spray weapon, it has a higher leg hit rate, but I mean, let's be honest, you aren't trying to hit legs. You want to hit the head or the upper body, and the Vandal overall is higher than the Phantom on this one, so Vandal takes another W. Now this one I think makes a lot of sense because I personally never aim down sights with the Vandal when I use it, but Phantom I definitely do a little more. And since you are more accurate with the Phantom aiming down sights, and since the penetration percentage is basically the same, I think I'm going to give the Phantom a W here. And I think in terms of lethality, the Vandal penetrates slightly more against heavy armor than what the Phantom can do, but because the numbers are so close, it isn't worth giving a W to anyone here. Now, that is it in terms of Riot statistics. So from what I saw, Vandal takes the win overall 3-5. Riot concluded by saying that whatever gun you choose, it's ultimately subjective and the best weapon is based on your playstyle and map. If you click heads consistently, go for the Vandal. If you prefer to spray and pray a little more, then go for the Phantom. I tend to agree with this, and while each weapon shines more at different ranges and in different scenarios, I personally think the Vandal is slightly better in an all-rounded scenario, which is probably why it is picked much more in comp and pro play. So from everything I have seen, I'm going to stick with the Vandal. So that is it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Please like the video and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.